So here we are with Dave Santia. I'm Barb Allen with American Snippets, and we came across Dave Santia on the internet when we saw his speed painting, and we're particularly touched by one particular aspect of what he does. We're going to let him get to that. Dave, thank you for being here with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
How about, I know that you have already done many interviews, and I actually just caught your Facebook Live post when you were traveling back to Michigan from New York a few days ago. So I won't make you go through too much of that again, but can you just give us a quick rundown for our listeners, about what you do and how you came about, how you got your start in this?
Yeah, sure. I've been drawing and painting since I was a little kid. A few years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago, I was mulling around on YouTube, and I saw this video of this artist. The video clip was from like 30 years ago, and this artist, his name was Denny Dent. He was on some TV show back then called That's Incredible, he had the same basic setup that I've got. Big black canvas, paint all over the place, and he starts throwing this paint on this canvas while this Beatles song was playing, and within seconds you could tell it was going to be John Lennon. And I saw a few more video clips of Denny Dent. After that, I was just kind of like amazed at what he was doing, and with what I knew, with the knowledge that I already had with art, I figured that I could probably teach myself how to do this, what he's doing. So I started training myself, and I figured it out, and got better and better at it. And then I started posting videos of me practicing up on YouTube and Facebook. And a friend of mine got a hold of me and asked me if I could attend a fundraiser that he was helping put together, and asked me if I could do a couple of my speed paintings, and they would auction them off. And it took some convincing, but eventually I ended up doing it. And they auctioned off the paintings, and that fundraiser got me to doing 2 more fundraisers, and those 2 got me to doing 2 more, and so on and so forth. And I thought it was a pretty cool thing that my artwork was helping benefit all these various charities and all these fundraisers, and so I kind of decided to stick with it. And that's kind of like how I got started with getting myself involved in all of these various charities. Was just that it was quite literally on accident. I didn't expect it. I wasn't planning it that way, but then to see what the artwork was doing, and that the fact that it was helping all these various charities, it just it made me feel good. So I just kind of stuck with it, and it's been going on now for about 5 years now. I've been doing it.
Well, that is awesome. Let me circle right back, because I think you sort of downplay a little bit the effort that you had to take or had to put into this. When you say you taught yourself and then you posted videos and it built like that, that could not have been an easy process or a quick process. And
You're right. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, I didn't know, because there's other speed painters out there, throughout the country, and I didn't know what materials to use. I didn't know, I had to find someone that would custom make my easel, because you can buy rotating easels, mine rotates, but I wanted my easel to be a certain way, and you couldn't buy them, the way how I wanted it. And so I had to find someone to make my easel the way how I wanted it, for it to do the stuff that I wanted to do. And I had no idea what to paint on, what type of paint to use. paint that you buy, you know, at a regular art supply store, it's not really soft. You know, it's like it's thick like toothpaste. You know, it's a little bit, you know, so I couldn't really use that because I couldn't be able to, you know, I wasn't able to splash it around or move it around the canvas. So, you know, I had to. I decided to. I could have used it, but then I'd have to work at it by thinning it down with paint thinner and all that stuff. And I decided to, you know, I just use regular interior house paint. You know, it's real soft. I can splash it around, and it's really not much different than you know, acrylic paint, other than the consistency. It's just softer. I remember the very first time I did a speed painting in private at home while I was training myself, and it took me about 45 minutes, and it was a painting of Michael Jackson. Well, it was supposed to be a painting of Michael Jackson. It looked more like, you remember the Thriller video when he became a zombie?
Yes.
You know, it kind of looked like that. It looked like a 7-year-old kid painted that, and it was just horrible. I've still got it. I've still got it lying around somewhere. The only person that I know that has seen it is my sister. I showed it to her, and I said, "What do you think of this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's yeah, that's great. What is it?" Like, literally, she said that. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's Michael Jackson. Can't you tell?" I said, "Okay, maybe in this area right here around the eye."
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, so, you know, I knew I had to get back at it. And I made these videos of me practicing so I can watch myself later, so I can study myself. Sure. I could see where I needed more improvement, what I needed to focus on more, what I needed to focus on less. And a lot of those videos are still floating around on YouTube. I you know, some of them I took down. A few of them are, you know, they're still up there. But yeah, and it took a while. I mean, for me to get everything together as far as what materials to use, and for me to, you know, start training myself, it took probably about a year or so altogether. But with when I started actually painting, then it took about 3 months before I was comfortable enough to go up in front of people and do it live. But it's a continuous learning process. I mean, I'm still learning even now. You know, I find something, I discover something different or something extra that I can do to improve myself when I'm designing my speed paintings or even when I'm painting them. And a lot of it is improvised right then and there on the spot. Even though I've already got a basic plan of what I'm painting while I'm painting it, there's still a lot of improvisation involved as far as what colors I'm going to use, or, you know, something I might think of on the spot that I might just try it right then and there. And a lot of times, you know, you don't know how the painting is going to turn out until the very end, until you're done. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the training process. But, you know, as I said, I'm still learning as I'm going on, even now.
Sure. So when you were teaching yourself, were you working a job? Did you have, I mean, how did you fit this into your life? Or were you in the position where you could just focus on that full time?
No, I was working in the family business. My family's in commercial real estate. And I was doing that. And then when I got started with the speed painting, it just got so busy so fast that I had to quit working with the family business, and I had to focus entirely on the speed painting. And you know, the speed painting, it's got its ups and downs. I mean, there are times when I've got nothing going on, and there are times when I'm so busy that I don't even have room to breathe. And I I believe you caught me when I started doing the live feeds this past summer. And that came about, when the live feeds came about, because summertime is, summertime, you know, I'm generally pretty slow, and well, I was bored, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just do live feeds, because there's a lot of people, they want to see me perform live, but they can't come up to the fundraisers that I perform at, or they, you know, or whatever. I don't even know my own schedule. I've got my manager; she handles all that stuff, and she tells me what I've got to do this week and what I got to do next week, that sort of thing. So I decided to do these live videos just to give people a chance to watch, and I didn't expect it to develop any type of following or anything, but it did. So I ended up getting stuck having to do these live videos every week. Not that I'm not complaining about it or anything like that. It's, you know, it's a lot of fun for me. So I became obligated, you know, I inadvertently became obligated to, you know, do these live feeds. And I, you know, I have a lot of fun doing it. I try to get the viewers involved. I take a poll every week, and I have them vote on what they want to see me
and
paint.
You're pretty strict on those polls, I saw, because you have a lot of people popping on your Facebook page saying they like this or they like that. But if they don't vote, you're not going to do it.
No, exactly. Yeah. You know, if it doesn't win, yeah, I'm not gonna paint it. And people are like, "Oh, I so badly want to see you paint so and so or whatever," and I'm like, "He's in the poll, but you know, if you don't get up there, then I'm not gonna paint it."
I love that. I love that you stick to that.
I try. You know, I'm just trying to be fair. You know, but you know, I have fun doing it. It's interesting to see what the people vote for every week. It's quite it's a range. You know, I mean, like not this past weekend. I didn't do a poll for this past weekend, but the weekend before, they had me doing Bela Lugosi as Dracula, and I think I had to do Tina Turner, and I think Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. I think, you know, so it's it's pretty diverse with what they vote for. It's kind of like off the wall, and you know, I have a selection where people can click. You know, they can vote for other, and they can fill in what they want. I could have 250 people click that other option and put in their own fill-in, and out of those 250, I have like 235 different, different selections. So, like, yeah, but so I take that other selection as, you know, I take them as suggestions of who I should add to the poll the following week. But yeah, it's a lot of fun doing it. I have a blast when I'm painting. I get anxious when I'm at an event, not because I'm nervous or anything like that, but because I can't wait to go up there and do my thing. You know.
Are you able to tune out the people around you, or do you ever have an occasion where they distract you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
When you're performing in front of people, do you sort of tune them out and focus on your work, or do you pull their comments and their thoughts and their noise into your work, or do they sometimes distract you?
You know, they don't really distract me. I do focus. You know, I have the ability. You know, I can, you know, focus on what it is that I'm doing. But however, I do also feed off the energy of the crowd. You know, if they're excited, then I'm more excited. If they're not excited, then, you know, I kind of like feel it in myself too. You know, that okay, this crowd is bored, or they're not, you know, jumping all over the place. So I can feel that myself too. So yeah, they don't really distract me. Occasionally, back in the beginning, I would, people, they didn't know what I was doing or why I was there, or this and that. And I'm up there, the music's going, and I'm painting. And I have had, the only type of distractions I've had is someone, maybe they had a little bit too much to drink, and then they come right up on the stage or right up to me on the canvas on my tarp, and they try to talk to me, and I just like, you know what? I turn to I turn to them. I don't even notice that they're there until they tap me on the shoulder or I bump into them or something. And I look at them, I'm like, you know what? You're being watched right now by everyone inside this room, and I'll point the crowd.
Has anybody ever tried to actually paint with you? Have they hopped up there and tried to paint with you?
No. No, that's never happened.
What do you think you would do if that happened?
I would just probably escort them away. That's just really, no, it's not a good idea. Yeah, that has never happened. Although
I just jinxed it now. It's definitely going to happen.
Well, I hope not. I did one time. This was back in the beginning when I first started performing live for these fundraisers. I did one time have a little kid. This kid must have been, I don't know, he was a toddler. He was like 2 years old. I didn't see him, and I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'9", and I'm doing a painting. I can't remember what. Maybe I was painting this Statue of Liberty. I don't know. I can't remember what I was painting, but I'm running around in front of this canvas, bouncing up and down, and I back up. I don't expect anyone to be on my tarp. This little kid somehow he got loose. This toddler, he got loose, and he's just a little toddler. He comes right up on the canvas. He's right behind me. I didn't know it, and I backed up. I take a step back, and I fell on top of him.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I mean, I didn't know I felt so bad. I didn't expect a little 2-year-old to be behind me.
And what kind of 2-year-old goes running up to a giant? Because I got to say, I'm tall, almost 5'10", but I don't know that I would go running up to a guy who's 6'9" and sneak up on him. So that little toddler was pretty brave. So what happened? You fell backwards on him.
I fell backwards on top of him, and we both, took a tumble, and I got up, and I couldn't touch him because my hands were covered in paint. But I think it was too late for him, anyways. I mean, he just walked onto it, covered in paint, and fell on it. But his parents, his dad came and picked him up and quickly got him out of there. Afterwards, of course, I apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't see your son there. But
and they were cool with that. I mean, it's a 2-year-old. So
well, yeah,
that's what they do. Yeah, I have 4 of those things, and my kids used to get away from me all the time. It's like puppies in a box, trying to contain them sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So let me circle back around, and I know this is a very commonly asked question, but I just want to touch on it quickly, and we'll move on. Your upside down technique. I saw you in one of your live posts where that was another thing that you just sort of. It's so normal to you that you're like, well, it just sort of evolved, and that's the way I do it, and I can focus better. But to somebody like me, I can't even paint a stick figure right side up. So the thought of actually spinning it upside down, I mean, is it actually harder for you to concentrate when you're not painting upside down? When you flip it back over and you're touching it all up?
Yeah, no, it's not. To be honest with you, there's really not much of a difference between painting it upside down and right side up. I mean, I've been doing artwork since I was a little kid, so I'm used to it. It's not okay. Like, imagine like when you're watching a little kid coloring in a coloring book. They don't have that coloring book straight right in front of them. They got to turn sideways. They got to turn this way. They got it upside down. They got, so they're focusing on what they need to color. And it's the same thing like when you're doing artwork, whether it's upside down or right side up. You're creating the image that's either in your head or you have a photo reference you're you're duplicating that image if you have a photo reference. It's so having it upside down or right side up really isn't much of an issue, because a picture of a cup, whether it's upside down or right side up, is still a cup.
Sure. I think, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think that's because you're an artist, and that's just something, that's a talent that not everybody has. I think you have to have that talent within you, and I think clearly you do. I think it's just such a cool little spin on painting and on drawing, but for you to be able to do it both ways. I'm a writer, I write all the time. I have very specific ways that I can write and channel in that artwork. So for you to be able to do it right side down, right side up, upside down, in front of a crowd, in front of a camera, or to yourself, that you can do it in so many venues is super cool. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to ask you, touch back around to when you said you had to leave your family's real estate business and go into this work full time. Was that a tough decision to make? Were you nervous about it at all? Did you have any doubts? Or were you just really excited to go do it? Did you just know in your heart that this is what you were meant to do and you were just going to make it work?
Well, I always knew ever since I was a kid that I was going to end up doing something that involved artwork. Ever since I was little, I've always said, I've always had these different ideas of what I wanted to do growing up, but they all involved artwork. For a while there, I wanted to be an animator, I wanted to be a commercial cartoonist, I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. It was always something involving art that I wanted to do. So I knew that eventually I was going to end up, I was hopeful that one day I was going to end up doing something involving art. And as far as like making the decision, it wasn't difficult. I wasn't nervous. I had no choice, because I got so busy with the speed painting so fast. I had no choice. I had to stop working in the family business and work, focus on the artwork. It really wasn't my decision to make. You know what I'm saying?
That is a very cool answer, actually. I think I'm going to incorporate that. It's not your choice. You're going to do it, and that's all there is to it. You're just going to go for it. Do you have people come up to you and say, I always wanted to be a painter, an artist, but here's all the reasons why I never did it?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get people, they come up to me, they're like, I used to be, so into art, and I stopped doing it. And, it's for one reason or another. Most of the time, it's just they lost interest, or they felt they weren't inspired anymore. And I've also had a lot of people come up to me and say, I used to do artwork, but after watching you've inspired me to get back at it.
That's gotta be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool feeling when people come up to me and they say that. That's true. And then I'll run into them again somewhere down the line, and they'll tell me, oh, I saw you perform at this fundraiser, and I used to do art, and you got me back into it again, and I've been painting ever since.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's a lot of, that's pretty cool. When I hear that.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of ways that your work is reaching out to people, from people who are just maybe see you and then pick it back up and do it themselves, and circling back around to these charities that you work with. Can you tell us, now I saw it on your site, but I want to hear you actually say it, about how much have you managed to raise for charities that you've donated?
You know what? I stopped counting after we hit 600,000.
I mean, that's insane. It's just a typical, it's about 600,000. I mean, do you realize how many people have, worked so hard and don't manage to raise any of that at all, or how many people do manage to break through and become successful and never stop to turn around and make any impact in the world outside of their own little bubble. So do you have a favorite charity that you're a frequent flyer in, or is these just all random charities that approach you, or do you find them?
Yeah, well, a little bit of both. Mostly they approach us. Us meaning me and my manager and whoever I have working with me. But mostly they approach us, and we don't really seek them out too often. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we'll reach out to them, send them a mailer or something through email. But most of the time they approach us. It's not that I have a favorite charity. There are ones that I work with consistently all the time. But I am kind of, I'm picky with them, but I'm not too picky. I stay away from like a lot of the political fundraisers.
That's a smart move.
Yeah.
To maintain
politicians.
Sanity. Yes.
Yeah, they got enough money. They don't need any extra.
Yeah, we'll avoid that. So is there any, do you just get overwhelmed with responses? I'm sure.
At times.
I'm sorry, with requests, not responses. Do you get overwhelmed with requests for people, everybody wanting you to, a little slice of your time, a little slice of your artwork? There's a limit to what you can respond to, correct?
Yeah, it does get overwhelming. The people sending me private messages or emailing me through my website, it gets really overwhelming. I get backed up a lot. I've got someone that helps me, respond to them all, and having her respond to them allows me the time my time to be freed up for me to focus on doing what people are responding to begin with. It allows me time to focus on the artwork. So, it does get backed up. I'm backed up on messages again that I've got to respond to. And I try to take a day, a week, where I'll sit down and respond to what I can respond to. And then, I have Sarah. She responds to the rest. She responds to the most of them, to the majority of them, actually.
Sure. Well, we're so happy that we made it through your gauntlet.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. Hey, if you want to find out more about Dave Santia and his work, check out his website at davesantia.com. You can see what prints are available for sale and find out how to book them for your event. Before we let you go, don't forget to subscribe to American Snippets for updates, events, and feature articles on extraordinary people. Speaking of which, we're always on the prowl for great stories about people like Dave and the others you see featured here. If you know of such a story, message us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/American Snippets. Thanks for spending your time with us as we highlight the exceptional people of America.